Hi, everybody. This is Candace Story. Today, we're going to talk about DISC personality profiles and also how to have better conversations with them in your listing appointments with your buyers and sellers. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started. And I'm just going to take my video off so I have better bandwidth because it's a rainy old day here. All right, so disc mastery, this is the difference between how top producing agents work and how agents that are still maybe growing and learning work. For instance, um, a, a newer agent might go in and present a list of features, but a master of disc will go in and adapt and address who they're talking to fit the style so that it's a better conversation. And why use disc in a listing presentation? I'm slanting this heavily towards sellers, but the same thing can be used with buyers. So disc helps you read the personality style of your seller prospect, and there's some clues we're going to talk about, which allows you to adapt your communication tone and value proposition in real time rather than doing a one-size-fits-all presentation. Particularly with boomers or mixed generation sellers, you often run into the dominant types who can be driven and impatient, steadiness types who are risk averse and maybe loyal to their past home. It's a hard thing for them to leave those memories. Conscientious types who are detail oriented and skeptical, and then influence types who are very social and community oriented. But you can build stronger rapport. You can reduce friction, handle those objections better, and shorten decision time and increase trust and referrals, all of which improves your conversion of the listing. Now, before we talk about any of these, I want to say there is no judgment. Every single one of these personality styles, and we all have a little bit of each, every single one is valuable. So please never think one is better than the other or than the other. Every single one has value. I can't stress that enough. So we just categorize these into different ways. A lot of times we lead with one, and then we have a backup, and then we also have an adaptive style. But I'm not going to get into all that. I'm going to just keep it simple for the purposes of working with buyers and sellers. Um, Very rarely will someone have all four characteristics kind of present. So dominant style, these are typically people who are very decisive. They're achievement oriented. They results driven. They excel in fast paced and challenging environments. And then the influence style, these are people who are outgoing, enthusiastic, persuasive. They bring a lot of energy and positivity to teams and interactions. You have the steadiness style, and steadiness individuals, they're dependable, calm, supportive. They love consistency, and they love harmony, and they're very stable within groups. They're sometimes referred to as the turtle because they're slow and steady, but they win the race, right? Conscientious style. So the conscientiousness types, they're very analytical and detail focused, and they don't make mistakes. They're just very highly accurate, and they have high standards in their work. So I think one of the very first places to start is to identify what your style is. And I'm going to go back to this. Um, think about who you are. Are you somebody who's very bottom line, very quick to make a decision? Are you somebody who's very outgoing, enthusiastic, or are you somebody who thrives with consistency and not a lot of change? Or maybe you're somebody who's very detailed. You love to do the reports and you love to have all of the information that you can have. Think about who you are. And then my second question is, who is your family? Who are they? For instance, I'll tell you a story. For all you influence styles, you love stories. I'm a high I and a high D, and my husband is a high C and a high I. So he will never give you a direct answer. I can't get a yes or no out of him. I get the whole explanation around it. I've had to learn to adapt my style with my D to be a little less impatient, and he's had to adapt his style to be less windy, and his one of his favorite phrases is to make a long story short. So think about who's in your family and how you can adapt who you are to better fit with how they are, because the understanding of who they are helps you with that. All right, here's a quick reference of each style and what to look for in a meeting context. D is dominance. Their traits are they're results-oriented, direct, decisive, and challenge-driven. Their body language, they're going to be upright in their posture. They're going to have a firm handshake, and they won't make a lot of small talk. The tone is direct, confident, and sometimes can sound a little abrupt, but they're just very bottom line kind of people. They want to know the end and not all the details getting there. The jobs you see them in, these are clues for you when you're having a seller or buyer intake form. When you ask what they do, if they're a CEO, an exec, this is not fail-safe, but it's prominent. Executive or director, project manager, operations manager, manager, floor supervisor, and entrepreneurs. So here's some things you can that will clue you in. They cut to the chase. How fast can you sell it? What's the net I'm walking away with? They ask big picture questions. What's our strategy? Rather than dwell on details. And they don't do a lot of chit chat. They may say, let's get moving. They may hurry you along in the listing presentation. Their job mindset is I want results. I want to win. And how to serve them? Well, present your value in terms of speed, bottom line, and competitive advantage. Use data, timelines, comparables. Keep it brisk. In a listing presentation, start with compelling numbers, show your fast track sale roadmap, emphasize urgency, highlight how you eliminate obstacles, talk in bullet points. They will be decisive and ready to sign, so don't keep going once you get that clue. Some of the things you want to watch for are if their body language changes and they start looking impatient. You want to immediately reset and get back on track if you've gone down a bunny trail. Maybe your high I came out and you started telling stories, but just get it back on track as quickly as you can. And then the influencer, right? Oops. The influencer. Their traits are they're open, enthusiastic, people-oriented, persuasive, and social. Body language, open gestures, animated expression. They lean forward, they lean into you. Their tone is they're warm, they're enthusiastic. They may talk faster, and they're very upbeat. Some of the jobs you see them in are sales, marketing, PR, event planning, HR, training and development, creative fields, entrepreneurship, and fundraising. And here's some of the things you can expect from them. They talk about community, neighbors, events, what's fun or exciting about home or location. These are the people that may fix appetizers when you come over to list their home. They ask, who else is involved? How will this look, feel for guests? May engage with more small talk, friendly banter, and ask about you. You want to make sure you don't get in the friend zone. Just keep those boundaries, stay friendly, tell stories, meet them where they are, but don't get in the friend zone, not during the listing period, maybe after the transaction if you really love them. And the same with all your clients, just don't stay in the friend zone. The job mindset is I want recognition, I want connection, and I care about experience. This is a group that typically wants to have fun. How to serve them, leverage storytelling, testimonials or client success stories, use community photos, humanize the process, use visuals, and express your enthusiasm. In a listing presentation, include a slide story about past happy sellers or buyers. If you don't have any, tell a story about yourself and maybe how you loved looking at homes and that's how you got into real estate. Uh, Give them a video of a tour of the neighborhood and kind of give it a vibe. Strong visuals with open house energy. Mention your social outreach. They will follow you on social and show how you'll make their listing a home story. Let them know how much you'll promote the open houses. The open houses are a key for this group. They're going to base their decision on whether they like you and feel you like them. I mean, you have to be competent, but this is going to be their primary driver. And you may want to have some chit chat while they sign. But again, don't get in the friend zone. Very important. It's easy to do with eyes. All right, then our third personality style is steadiness. Their traits are they're calm, supportive, dependable. They prefer stability and trust. Their body language will be more relaxed. They'll have gentle gestures. They're going to make steady eye contact and they may talk more softly. You want to meet them again where they are. Their tone is soft, patient, and reassuring, and yours should be too. The jobs you see people with steadiness as their leading factor is healthcare. They might be a nurse or a therapist, education, teacher, guidance counselor, professor, HR, administrative support, and technical support. They really care about nurturing. They're nurturers. Maybe flight attendants would be categorized in this group as well. And they focus on how will this affect us, our family, in our next chapter. They ask questions about transition and what happens after the sale. Change is hard for these people. It's very difficult. So you're going to need extra patience. And they may take their time. They may ask to talk with a spouse partner, and they value personal relationship. The job mindset is I want reassurance, safety, someone I can trust long term. How to serve them? Well, you're going to show warmth, listen really, really deeply, provide step-by-step actions, reduce risk, and emphasize your long-term support. In a listing presentation, have a next chapter walkthrough, show your post-sale support, use gentle language like we'll take care of you. If it's maybe a first-time home buyer, you can say we're going to walk hand in hand through this journey. Show your caring service for boomers downsizing or moving to assisted living. And they need to feel that you trust that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. They need to trust that. And weekly touch points at the same time, that consistency is really important. Now, oftentimes in a listing presentation with I's and S's, if I can identify them, I will say what I really mean, and that's that you can't know this about me, but I'm going to take care of you and your family like you're my family. I'll take care of this transition as if I were doing it for a family, myself or a family member. I won't say that to D's or C's because that's not valuable for them. It just doesn't mean that much to them. But I'll say that for the I's and S's. And then if we go to the conscientiousness, their traits are they're analytical, detail-oriented, quality-driven, methodical. Their body languages, they'll have controlled movements, they'll have a reserved expression, and sometimes can be very hard to read because they're processing. Their tone will be measured, thoughtful, and factual. They will enunciate. Jobs that you see people with a high C are accountant, engineer, surgeons, software developer, pharmacist, data analyst, scientist. As I said before, maybe pilots. These people are not people who tend to make mistakes. They value accuracy. They're very careful about the details. And so when you present to them, they may keep asking for data, metrics, and comparisons. What's your methodology? They may pause, reflect, ask about contingencies. They may want to see documentation. Their body language will be poised. They might lean back, arms crossed until they're comfortable. That leaning back is leaning away from you. So until you see that change, and you may not see a change, but until you see it change, you're still working to prove. Job mindset, I want accuracy, logic, and I want to avoid mistakes at all costs. How to serve them, provide detailed info, be prepared with backup data, demonstrate your systems, show your track record and proof. In a listing presentation, include your CMA, and make it a slide with data. Provide an absorption report, as many reports as you can to help them understand the data in different ways will help this group make a comfortable decision. Show risk mitigation strategy, pricing strategy, inspection plan, marketing system, and have attachments, handouts they can review. Highlight key things on those attachments. They typically will not make a decision at the appointment, which is where your follow-up is really important. They'll need to analyze the data and will double check your figures, so cite your sources, NAR, MLS, and RPR, or wherever you get your sources from that's credible. And I just want to say, like with the high C's, one of the things that I'll say to them is, my job is to give you enough information, accurate information, so that you can make an informed decision. And that's how that's my script for this group. I've got a do's and don'ts handout for people who are in listing advantage. If you absolutely have to have it, please email me at hello@candicestory.com and I'll send it to you. In the meantime, you can delve deeper into understanding the DISC profiles and how they work in your business. And I will see you next week.